envie de tous vous dire, nous sentons bien que ce monde se divise, mais par votre présence, aujourd'hui, vous démontrez une nouvelle fois que le sport rassemble, quelle que soit sa religion ou son travail. Merci à tous d'être présents aujourd'hui.
We can feel that in those days the world is getting divided, but by your presence here, you are demonstrating one more time that sport bring people together. Whatever your religion is, whatever your social position or your job is, for this and for everything, thank you so much.
Zach Miller, Hayden Hawks, Chi Min.
Hi, Azleen.
Hi, Isabel.
Hi, Azleen.
Can you hear me?
Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. This is Isabel here. I'll be the host for this Sportlicious Malaysia. Today, we are talking about Sky is the Limit, and we have special guests join in with us, which is Paul Capell, world champion, and we also have Lindsay, the founder of Naked Sports Innovation, as well as Ken Wei, global ambassador. And today, we also have Azleen as the moderator, interviewer, to interview the guests. Hi, Azleen.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing great. Almost 40 days, I guess. We're all working from home for those in Malaysia. Not bad. The new normal, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Me too. I'm enjoying the time here right now too. So, yeah. So before we bring Paul in, shall we play a short video of Paul Capell?
Yes.
When the finish line, when he crossed the line for UTMB competition.
Yep. Let's do that.
Let me share the screen. Okay.
Los superhéroes no existen. Desde el ordenador de mi casa recuerdo que miraba el UTMB, los grandes corredores que la corrían. Este era un sueño cuando empecé a correr hace 7 años. Pero bueno, hay días que acierto y hay días que no. Salí al principio con un grupo normal. Kilómetro 3 me quedé solo porque los corredores pararon a orinar allí al lado. Pensando que me atraparían pues, el grupo de detrás, bueno, no fue así, pasé de Jesús primero. Y en Sant Gervais llevaba 5 minutos creo al segundo y dije, y tocará luchar solo esta carrera. Todo el rato he ido solo, pero me he sentido súper acompañado hoy. de North Face me da la opción de que vengan a ayudarme, pero siempre les digo que para mí Marta, que lo hace todo excelente, mis padres, para mí es un lujo poder llegar a un avituallamiento y que esté Marta ayudándome. Hicimos los tiempos que creía que podía hacer y los iba clavando más o menos durante la carrera. Los tenía detrás del dorsal, me los escribí con un rotulador antes de la carrera. Miraba si clavábamos tiempo y íbamos minuto a minuto. Esta edición ha sido más larga que las anteriores, se ha hecho el recorrido original de la prueba. Si sumamos unos 30 minutos de más, daban los tiempos normales que yo tenía planificados. Hasta que no llegué al pueblo no me lo creía. Lo primero que vi fue a mi hermana llorando. Lo sienten mucho, lo viven y cuando tienes a tu familia a tu lado, pues es mucho más fácil correr y después cuando llegas, pues bueno, lo primero que buscas es a ellos para agradecerles el esfuerzo. Toda la gente dándome ánimos, os puedo agradecer a todos de corazón, de verdad, muchas gracias porque no he hecho nada por vosotros y en cambio vosotros lo habéis dado todo por mí. Como superhéroes mis padres, como mucho, porque me lo dan todo y hoy pues puedo decir que lo he ganado. Es una vivencia que no sé si la podré vivir otra vez.
So such an inspirational video. Hi, Paul. How are
Hello.
you?
Good, thank you.
Okay, all right. So what time is over there?
8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, cool. Paul, you are the 2 times of world champion, and you were also the men's winner for the UTMB 2019. So I read about your track records performance, and you have been recognized as the most consistent runner, especially when the distance gets longer. So I think my first question to you, how do you maintain the focus and motivation, to be able to perform this long?
I love this sport. So I love trail running. I love practice sport in general. So it's really easy for me maintain the motivation because every day I want to practice in the mountain. I want to run there. So for me, it's not complicated, but it's true that sometimes when you are tired and you need to train more to improve your performance, you need motivation. And then I have friends, I have the sponsors that can I go with them? Can I go to the mountains with some friends and can I train with people to take more energy in the moments that I'm tired or I don't have this motivation. But for me, the most important thing in the life is do the things that you want to do it. So I'm fortunate because I'm working in this job in trail running. So it's my passion and it's really easy for me.
Awesome. I think that's a very good advice and a very good starting as well as we build out this conversation. So you did UTMB in 2017. You placed 6th, right? And then in 2018, you did CCC. Yes, you did CCC. And in anticipation, leading up to the UTMB 2019. So how did you prepare in both physical and the mental aspect of it? And I think the audience will be also interested to hear about your race strategy, that you apply differently between the UTMB 2017 for 6th place and then you become the champion in UTMB 2019. So what did you do?
I think that I started train UTMB when I started run 8 years ago.
Wow.
When I started run, I'm 28 now, so I started with 20 years old. After an injury, I was a full soccer player, and I had an injury on my knee, so I needed to do operation, chirurgic, and stay 7 months doing a recovery. And during this 7 months, I remember that I was at home and I was watching on the TV the UTMB online. I didn't know that trail running it was a sport. I didn't know what is UTMB. And when I saw in my computer UTMB, I was thinking, wow, this is the thing that I want to do it when I will be okay for run, for my recovery. So I think that I started train 8 years ago. In 2016, I ran the TDS also. I could run the TDS, and I think it was my first good result, international result, I think. And the preparation, it was totally different. If we compare with UTMB of this year, of 2019, because for this 2019, for my victory, I was in Mont Blanc during 2 months, more or less, training there, doing 2 loops totally. And I did this 2 loops training with other athletes. So I was focusing my job to win UTMB. And how I did it? I called Scotty Hawker, is a good athlete, good runner, at finish 3rd in UTMB. I called also Jack Miller, Marcin, different athletes that I was thinking that maybe they could be the winner. And I called them and I asked them, if you want, we can go to train together and we can do the loop together before the race. And I wanted to do it because I wanted to look these athletes doing the road and study a little bit how they manage the situation in an uphill, in a downhill. I wanted to see if they were better than me in a different parts of the UTMB road. And this is what's my strategy. I wanted to have in one part what kind of athletes will compete with me in UTMB, and then the other part it was okay. When I finish this part of training, I going to take a paper and I prepare all the road with my timings. So I start in Chamonix, and then the first checkpoint is Les Jouges, kilometer 8 of the race. So how much time I need to arrive to this point? 40 minutes. In the race, I need to do 40 minutes. When I arrive in Les Jouges, first checkpoint, then I need to go in the next checkpoint in Saint-Gervais. I need to do it 1 hour 15. So in the race, I will do 1 hour 15. And this, it was my strategy. I was doing not one race. I didn't do the UTMB. I did more or less 12 races.
And interesting about that, how you use your competitors, but in a kind of like a friendship setting, then you guys train together. So you eventually, like you said, what could be potential weaknesses or strength, and where from there that you can learn, right? So let's relive a bit the finishing of the UTMB 2019 for the last kilometers. What was the feeling looks like? I saw your video. It was so inspiring. I felt like, okay, I really want to do UTMB one day. I don't know when, right?
Yeah.
But really, it's such an inspiration. So describe a bit. How do you feel when you are pushing the finish line?
I think that you need to live it. If I explain you how I feel, you will not know the feeling exactly. You need to go there to live this finish line. Oh, for sure. If you finish first, the people will encourage you a lot, will be really happy. But if you finish the last athlete, you will have the same. So the people is there in the finish line waiting you, and the feeling is like I'm in my dream. So it was my dream when I started run, and now this is the reality. It's not the dream. It's my life, and I am
It's your
enjoying.
reality.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the life how I want to enjoy, and this is how I want. And I was thinking the last 2 kilometers in the last. I was imagining the last 8 years. So in 2 kilometers, my last 8 years were like totally fast on my mind, thinking about how I start, how I continue, how many people I meet during my career, and for sure I was waiting the last 100 meters when you see the finish line. I saw my family there, and it was fantastic. I remember that when I'm in the finish line, I stop before cross the finish line. I stop.
Yes.
I open my backpack,
Yep.
and I remember that I look my family in front of me, and I was like crying all the time. I look my sister crying, my mother, my father, and it was like I need
That's
to
surreal.
I
Very
need to take a
surreal.
hug.
Yeah, because I saw like you practically like almost stop before you reach the finish line. And luckily, I think Xavier is like 45 minutes away behind you. You were like, giving high fives, and like you almost stopped there until like people usher you to keep on, moving forward to the finish line. I replayed that moment, that clip, like the last, I think 2 to 5 minutes. I keep on because, gosh, I didn't know personally, but I think it's really an inspirational finish to me, and I believe to the rest as well. So let's for that 100 miles of UTMB 2019, nutrition wise. So how did you manage in that 100 miles distance? Are you more like all like energy person, or did you also incorporate that solid food, at the checkpoint when you stop? So how did you manage that? Because we have also like, because trail running becoming like a budding sport in Malaysia as well, in Asia in particular. So there we have many of 100 miles races as well here in Malaysia as well as in Asia. So I think, yeah, it can be a good sharing as in how you manage your nutrition during the race itself.
The nutrition has been one of my big challenges during my career of trail running. When I started run, I remember that I ate really bad. Maybe one banana, and then after 1 hour 30 minutes I ate one bar or whatever. Now the nutrition is one of the best things that I think that I do, because we control with my nutritionist, we control every time, everything that I want to eat. We control the drink, the isotonic. So for example, in 100 miles during my 19 hours or 20 hours that I did during the race, I ate every 40 minutes and I drank every 20 minutes.
Okay.
So every 20 minutes, I drink 250 milliliters of water or isotonic. We combine.
Okay.
And then I eat normally every 40 minutes, and I eat gels, bars from my sponsor. And then I love to eat natural food. So the food that I can eat during my lunch, my breakfast, I eat normally for the races, because is the food that normally for me
Familiar.
it's okay. Yeah, it's very familiar. So I eat rice, potatoes, sweet food, bananas, oranges, so natural fruit. And then in the checkpoints, it's really important that when you arrive in a checkpoint, you know what kind of food you will eat. Because if you don't know what you will eat, maybe you start to eat donuts or, food that is not good for your health. So croissants, this kind of food is not good. So you need to focus your mind in, okay, I will arrive in this checkpoint. I know that maybe I can eat croissants, food that is not good, but I need to eat bananas, oranges, and
That
this kind
you're
of
familiar. Yeah.
yeah. So you need
Okay.
to organize really good these things. But for example, in energy gels that you ask here in the question, I remember during the UTMB 6 or 7 energy gels, and normally I eat the gels before the uphills.
Okay, all right. Because for a quick energy, because it's easily absorbed by the body. Okay, and we saw that there's a recent clip that you loaded up on yogurt and Coke.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Before the start of the race, why? And does it work? Any like tips behind that? Loading up with yogurt and Coke
Before the race, before the start, the start in UTMB is complicated because the race starts at 6 p.m. So it's totally different that normally in Europe we start the races in the 11 p.m. So in the night. So I do the same. I'm really strict with this kind of thing. So in the day of the race, always I eat the same in the dinner and in the lunch. So, for example, in the lunch, I eat pasta with chicken. In the dinner, I eat rice with salmon, the fish. And always I do the same. I never change this food because for me, for my body, it's okay. And that's why I eat this. And then 1 hour before the race, I take a stomachal protector,
Okay. Yep.
And then I start to drink the isotonic because what I want is when I start the race, I want to be hydrated perfectly. So I need to go to the bathroom and check if your pee is transparent or not. So it's really important to know these kind of things.
That's very good advice and a key takeaway. So how often during that 170 kilometers, because they did the original UTMB course, right? So how frequent is it at every checkpoints that you eat solid foods, as in like, for example, your favorite breakfast, for example, or favorite dinner options? Is it at every checkpoint or you alternate it?
Yeah, in the strategy of the race, also we have the strategy in the nutrition. So normally in the first checkpoint in UTMB, for example, I didn't stop. And in the second checkpoint, I didn't stop because I carry all the things with me to stop in the kilometer 35, that it was the third checkpoint. So also you need to have this kind of strategies when you will stop and when not. But normally in the races, I stop in all the checkpoints because I have my team, I have the assistants, and in some checkpoints I eat. In some checkpoints I don't eat. I take only my drink and I go because I have the food with me. The good thing is, for example, in my case, I use one belt. It's a naked belt.
Naked belt. Yes.
And I put inside all the food. So I can carry all the food during my race. And this, for me, it's really good because I can go maybe 40 kilometers with the food.
Whatever that you have. Yes.
I don't need to stop
all the time at every checkpoint. Okay. So if, say, given a chance for you to redo UTMB 2019, okay, where you became a champion, would you do it differently, or is there anything, a single point that you think that you wanted to change to get a better result or to run faster than the 20 hours record that you have made?
I don't know. I don't know because 1 year is really different than other years. So you don't know how can you arrive in other year. For example, this year will be really complicated to do better time because the situation here in Europe of coronavirus have been that the people have not trained really good yet. So I think that this year will be very difficult to go faster. But yeah, always you can improve. In my case, for example, I think that if we improve a little bit more in the strategy to, for example, I know that in UTMB 2019, I lost time in the kilometer 100 to 115. So these 15 kilometers, I know that I lost maybe 8 minutes, more or less. So I think that if we improve these 8 minutes and then we improve in some checkpoints that maybe we lost 1 minute, 30 seconds, maybe we can improve 10 minutes in the timing. I think that 1 year we will run UTMB with less than 20 hours. But I think that this year will not be the year.
Okay, interesting enough how that you mentioned about for this year's edition, right? With the COVID situation and for many countries are in lockdown. So if say UTMB if UTMB 2020 is going to proceed, I think like for you, for example, you have not been running outside for quite a while, and hopefully by by May, coming May, that you guys can go out and train again. So what would be you think in terms of disadvantages if you were to race UTMB 2020 for this year?
For us, it will be a big disadvantage because we have not trained yet. I can train here. This is my last floor of my home, and I have here the treadmill. I have my cycling machine, and for sure I train here now. When we finish, I need to run 2 hours 30 on the treadmill. Then I need to practice cycling 1 hour 30. So I'm training like always, but the training that I'm doing here is not a quality training that I could do on the mountains.
Yeah.
So we are in a big disadvantage with other countries that today they are training in the mountains, like maybe France. In France, they can train 1 hour in the mountains. So with 1 hour, you can do a good job in the mountains, a specific training. So I think that for this edition of UTMB 2020 will be a big disadvantage for some of countries. But this is not an excuse, because I can train at home, and it's not an excuse. If I can train at home, I can maintain my performance, and then in 1 week we will start in the mountains. So when we will start in the mountains, we need to improve more than other countries, and that's the secret.
Okay, right. So I have one question now, Paul, from the audience. Okay. So the folks start asking you a question. So, don't you think that starting up at 170 kilometer 20-hour race leading from the beginning to the end was a massive race of not being able to keep that pace till the end? Because I know for the fact that the first 3 kilometers you are on your own and you are like, phew, right? And the rest are like far away behind you. So because the contention that you have, these are the top athletes in the world. So that's the risk that you took. So what made you do so?
So it's the same that I told you in the start of this live. Is I had one strategy and I had my timing. My timing, it was arrive in Les Jouges, kilometer 8, with 44 minutes, I think it was. And I didn't want to focus my mind in the other athletes. So if the other athletes wanted to run with me, more than welcome. For me, it will be better because the race is very long. It's 170 kilometers. Run this race alone is crazy. It's like if you want to kill yourself, run alone. And I knew that it will be complicated manage the race alone, but I had more options. In the kilometer 3, like you say, in the kilometer 3, I was running with Scotty Hawker and Minky, the Chinese guy. And the other athletes were 50 meters behind me. But these colleagues stopped because they needed to do pee. And I was like, okay, if you stop, I will not stop because I want to do my strategy and I continue. For sure, it was a crazy thing that never happened in UTMB, but it's the same like I was talking with the other athletes, with Xavier Bernard, with Scotty Hawker. When we finished, I told them I didn't want to crash the race. I wanted to follow my pace, my timing, and that's why I didn't stop, because I wanted to follow my timing. And for me, it was not dangerous, because I knew that I needed to do 44 minutes, for example, to the first checkpoint, and it was the time that I did.
Okay. And the fact that, like you said, you train with them, like you do the 2 loops of UTMB, and probably what's going to be different on that day that we can't control, you can't control, would be the weather, right? If suddenly it's going to be totally a disaster weather different, then that's going to be a challenge. Okay, we got another question, Paul, from Mark Anthony Stacy. So earlier question was from Alessandro Sherpa. Paul, what do you believe are the essential components of a training block leading up to a 100-mile race? Also, how many ultramarathons that you suggest a runner should run in a year to tackle such distance?
Run 100 miles, you need before run other kind of races like 40, 60, 80, 100 kilometers, 120, and then you can do the step to 100 miles. This is my first advice. But the other thing is the training block that Mark is asking. For example, in my case, but every runner have different strategies. Yeah. So maybe one athlete need to train 25 hours per week, and one athlete with 15 is enough. So we will need to check every athlete and the possibilities of every athlete, because the people, I'm working with my passion, that is trail running. So I have timing on my day to train. But the people that is working 8 hours and have a family, have kids, and then they need to train, it's complicated to manage the situation. So
I understand.
But in this case, in the training block, I remember that I was training per week, or for every day, maybe 6 hours per day. And then I started this block training before 2 months of the race. So during 2 months, I was training 6 hours per day, and normally all of these 6 hours were running.
Okay, so I have another questions I'm going to ask you, because this is related to the effort that you did. Your first, I think, winter effort, the run for the Arctic.
Yes.
Right, in support of the global climate change activity. So the question here is from Pelari Denai. What is the most challenging part running in the snow? Yeah, we saw that you run in the snow, and then I think you stumbled at one point. Did you get frostbite? The whole want to know that.
The most challenge that I didn't imagine, it was the cold weather that I suffered during the road. I live here in Barcelona, and in Barcelona, the temperature now outside is in the morning, but maybe 17 degrees. It's really good. It's a good temperature. But I remember in Norway that when I started run, I was in minus 15, that it was cold, but after 28 kilometers, I was in minus 28 degrees. So for me, it was crazy, because my eyes were closed because it was ice on my eyes, and I couldn't see the road, and I was afraid because it was really dangerous situation, and it was my hardest point of the road. It was manage this cold weather, but this project, Run for the Arctic, the people can watch in YouTube. Run for the Arctic, and it was I love it, the project, because we could talk with the people that was living in a town of two people there, and the people explain us how the world is changing, how the ice is changing, and I love it, this project.
Yeah, because I saw in one clip that you were talking to the local, that the local said that it was like not is warmer than usual. When you ask, okay, what was the temperature? It's like -10 or -8, right? I think you were asking for the direction. Okay. Yep. So that's another question. This is very interesting. Okay. In your opinion, what will be the difference between Spartan Trail World Championship and the Ultra Trail World Tour? And which will be the future game changer for both the trail and the ultra trail?
I think that in trail running, this is an incipient sport. So we are starting to have federations, the roles, and we are starting to put all the trail running in the same line. So I think that it's really good that the Spartan Trail start with new championship. I will participate this year in this World Championship running in one of August, one race in Sweden, Flash Marathon, and then end of November I ran Patagonia Run, 100 miles, and before 100 miles I ran in Costa Rica La Ruta Trail. So I will participate in the Spartan Trail because I think that they will manage really good how we can improve trail running. So maybe Ultra Trail World Tour is, I have won Ultra Trail World Tour 2 times.
Yep.
And I love Ultra Trail World Tour for sure. But in Ultra Trail World Tour, we have 25 races. And we need to focus how we want to manage one championship with a lot of races or with the best races in the world.
Exactly. So, the quality of it.
Correct. And I think that for the professional athletes, it's more, I don't know if we love more or I don't know how to say, but I would prefer to have one championship with UTMB, with Lavaredo, with, I don't know, Patagonia, with the best races in the world, and the best athletes of the world must to compete in these races. The problem that I have normally is I go to a race, and then in this race is only 2 elite athletes. So I can't compare with other athletes that I'm competing with them. So I don't know if I'm better with other athletes or not because I have not competed with him. I would like to compete with all the best athletes like UTMB. So in other races, the same that happened in UTMB would happen in other races.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so we talk a lot about trail running. So I'm going to ask now questions about your everyday life. Okay, so we keep a bit. Okay, your treadmill. Okay, gosh, you recently broke it. Right?
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of followers, even myself. Okay, I think we wanted to know what is your normal running speed on the machine. Okay.
In the machine.
On the treadmill. Yeah.
Here in my machine, I normally run. This morning, for example, I put the machine in 2-3% of inclination of elevation, and the velocity is 17 kilometers per hour.
Okay, all right. So
I do the training with 2 hours, 2 hours 30 with this speed.
Okay, all right. Then there's another question also on your everyday life. If you are not doing trail running today, okay, what will you do? Okay, will you still be a professional athlete but in a different sport?
No, I think that I studied engineering, so I'm engineer, a mechanical engineer, and then I studied a master of business direction. But I can't work of this because for trail running I need hours, so I can't manage one job of engineer and also one job of trail runner. So I'm working in trail running. But if I finish trail running, I think that I will apply my studies of engineering and I will be an engineer. But I would like to be an engineer in a sport company. So try to improve the products, these kind of things, the footwear. I would like to work in this way.
Okay, All right. So I think in the interest of time, Paul, I think there's a lot more questions, and probably, I don't know, we can send it to you, right? Then we can do a quick video clip, recorded that, and then we can publish it later. It was really enjoyable conversation. I wanted to have more with you, but I think in the interest of time, pity Lindsay as well, because I think it's approaching midnight. So I'm
Yes.
gonna say bye to you for now. Okay, we're gonna bring up Ken so that we can talk a bit more with Ken about his short film called Running. Okay, so I'll talk to you more later, Paul. Hey, Ken. Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Okay, Ken, so you are the Naked Global Brand Ambassador. Okay, you're also sponsored by other few brands like Otso, BV Sports, Scott Running, Univet, just to name a few. Okay, but we all know that you are a trail runner, you run. Okay, but I think what I want to talk more with you today is the short film that you did, Running. I watch it several times. That's such an inspirational videos. I think it reached 50 over viewers in less than a month. Okay, so what inspired you, Ken, to produce this video? And you wore the naked vest. So, but I think the inspiration behind you. So perhaps you can share with the rest of us.
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of things. It kind of came together organically. I wasn't out to really make a video, but it all started last year when Sherpa was interested in making his own video, kind of a video like telling his story. And then he asked me if I can help him out to maybe do some photography, a little bit of video work. And then I started reaching out to the people that I know and my colleagues, like, hey, there's this cool ultra runner. He wants to do this story. And what do you think? Let's try and help him out. And then a few weeks had passed, and then Sherpa got back to me saying that he was going to do the video with Robin Lee and T8. So then I had to go tell my friend, like, hey, they found someone else to do the video. So yeah, we're not going to do it anymore. And then my friend, Ruben Fitzgerald, he's the guy who actually shot Running. He was like, hey, let's do a video for you. And I was like, whoa, really? Okay, like, what do you think? And he's like a videographer, so he really wanted to do a video that featured Penang. And so we combined his idea of trying to show Penang and then my idea of kind of what running means to me. So we're trying to hit all the good spots, scenic spots to showcase Penang and running together.
That was really artistic. I love all the shots, and I mean, I think it was like less than 4 minutes short film, but it really worth watching it and so inspirational. And you chose to release the video to public on the March 17. Why? Can any significant with the date of the March 17?
The video was just finishing up. Like Ruben was finishing up with the editing. The same race week of our last race, BUTM. And then when I was in Borneo, he was sending me versions, and then I was giving feedback, and he'd do some edits, and then we'd go back and forth until just before race, like just like the night before the race, he sent me like the final version, and I was like, yep, that's it, that's perfect.
Thank you, because you're sharing it with the rest of us. We are like, wow. So this is like a hidden talent of Ken.
When I got back from Borneo, that's when I was like, everything's ready. And then Ruben, he was like, why you got to post it? And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I posted it.
How long really the projects took you and Ruben? Because all the aerial shot, the bird eye view. Yeah, how much of effort that was put into this?
It was probably over the course of about 1 month. So about 4 weekends, we would meet up on Saturday, sometimes Saturday and Sunday. And we would, go all around and do the filming there. Yeah, it was probably about a month's work of shooting and maybe like a week or two of editing.
Okay. So, shall we anticipate a part 2 of the video or the film?
There's definitely going to be a lot more coming. I
Uh-huh.
have all these good ideas that I'm trying to sort through, but I think the next one should be in the next maybe month or two.
Wow.
I have
Okay.
a series that I have been kind of writing out and scripting. I really
Mm-hmm.
want to show people who are visiting Penang
Mm-hmm.
or actually live in Penang, kind of
Mm-hmm.
how I work out and where all the good spots to run are, and then
Okay.
try to get good footage.
So but any specific theme, like concept, to the part 2?
It will probably just be some kind of like get to know where to run, like all the hidden gems for training.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have a side project with durian. So I have this idea where I want to do this durian documentary with one of the farmers that I know.
And that was an evil post that you did yesterday on the
Yeah.
durian post in the Facebook.
That's right.
Okay. And Ken, okay, so the naked vest, right? The naked band. So you have produced quite a number of videos, short clips, explaining how to use the running vest as well as the band. And tell you what, many appreciate it because I have mine as well. So it helps me in terms of strategically how I can, do all the packing. So, what make you so passionate? Because I understand that you started just as a user, just like the rest, before you became the global ambassador. So what make you produce all those videos?
Well, I guess it was like the first time I encountered naked. It was Karen at the booth at the race expo,
Mm-hmm.
and I put it on for the first time, and I was like, wow, this feels really different than any other vest that I've tried on. It's not bulky, and it's form-fitting. It fits to your natural shape.
Mm-hmm.
But then I went back to the hotel one day, and I was just like, I think I'm gonna break the rule where it's like never do anything new on race day.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to race with it. I put everything on, and I was just like, you know what? It just feels too good. So I put it on, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with it in the morning. So I ended up racing with it, and it just felt so good, just so comfortable. Like just naturally, I gravitated towards the material and, how stretchy it is, how it has no bounce. You can have all your gear in there, water, everything. You can be running full speed, and it just doesn't bounce. So it can't get any more comfortable. And it's just like a piece of gear that basically stays on me like every time I head out onto the trail. So I guess I'm pretty passionate about, gear that I've fallen in love with.
It's like your must-have now. I think if we want to sabotage you from towing the start line, I know what I can do. I'm gonna take away your naked vest and bag. That's it. You cannot race. I think Lindsay might be laughing at the back. Okay, and then you did the Barrio clip when you went to Barrio, and then you did your long run, and then you also share the tips how to pack. There's quite a lot of things that you pack, right, in the clips. So, Ken, for that in particular, I wanted to show to the audience in case they haven't seen that clip, but I have picked the specific segment that is showing that you showed us how that you do your packing. Okay, so let's watch that video. Okay, all right. Okay, Isabel, let's bring up the Barrio clip.
So every time I put on the naked running vest, I put it on with absolutely nothing in it. Completely empty. That way it's easier to get on. These are the items that I'll be packing for tomorrow's long run. On the top left, we have honey, tailwind, and a fig bar. I have 3 soft flasks, a 350, 500, and 700 milliliter, emergency space blanket, first aid kit, 2 Unived gels, 2 cramp fix,
and a Revy's energy strips. Down here we have the Naked Running band. Instead of putting a hiking pole, I'm going to have my GoPro in the back. This is a headlamp, and then my cell phone. A good tip for accessing items in the back compartment of the Naked Running vest is to place the items inside a plastic bag. That way it's much easier to grab. I always start with the soft flasks. They go in the front compartment. Next, I have my 700 milliliter water bottle, which I'll put in the back. And my bag of Tailwind, honey, and fig bar. As you can see, because it's in a bag, I have easy access. It's right there and just comes right out. All right, next we have Univet gels. I like to put it in the side pocket here. Cramp fix. That's the village wake-up call. They bang on a really big piece of wood, and like people from different houses, they all get together around this time. Pop, pop, pop. That means it's time for a run.
Okay, thank you, Isabel, for showing us the Barrio clip, the clip that Ken specifically share how he did his packing. Ken, as you see, that is a very informative. I personally really appreciate it because it really helps me. Because initially I was like, couldn't believe it that I can fit in so much, you know, into the vest and the band. I really look forward, and I believe the rest of the audience as well look forward to see more videos from you, not just naked products related videos, but of course we look forward to the part 2 of the running. Thank you so much for being with us today, Ken.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Right. Okay, Isabel, before we bring up Lindsay, I think I would like to show to everyone, the audience, the short video on the running that Ken did. It's very inspirational.
Running. Running is spiritual to me. It's a form of connection. Connection with your city, your neighbors, the streets, and most importantly, connection with nature. With each step, I'm finding myself. You see, running is my therapy. It's the only time that I don't have to think. I can just be free. And let my mind simply wander, navigating through the depths of my thoughts. Somehow, healing occurs. Healing that soothes the soul, that sparks creativity, that drives compassion for my surroundings and my environment. One step at a time, I get just a little bit closer at finding myself. Some call it Zen, others call it flow. For me, well, I call it freedom. And that is why I run free.
Thank you, Isabel. So now we are moving on to the, I would say, the second last segment of the interview session today. But the audience, please don't sign out yet, because by the end of the session, Pao is going to announce the 2 lucky winners of the recent contest of guessing who's the mystery guest. So Pao will do the announcement later on. So Isabel, can we please bring in Lindsay, the founder and owner of the Naked Sports Innovation. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay, can you hear me? Okay. Hold on. I think there's a bit of lagging in terms of the network. I'm not sure if Lindsay can hear me. Okay, yeah, we lost Lindsay. I think he's gonna log out and log in back again. So you guys have, for those of you who have watched the video earlier, so I hope that you guys will stay inspired, because I definitely feel so inspired watching the short video made by Ken on running. Okay, Lindsay? Lindsay? Hi, Lindsay. Can you hear me? Okay, so while waiting for Lindsay to come on air again, hi, Lindsay. Lindsay, can you hear me? Okay, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to exit from my session, or okay, there's a bit of lagging. Okay, Lindsay is trying to log out and log in again. Sorry guys for some technical glitches. It was really out of our control. Suddenly this happened. It was all okay before this. Okay, but while waiting for Lindsay to come back on air, I hope for what that you have heard from Pao in terms of his preparation towards the big race such as UTMB 2019, from a nutrition plan, the race strategy. Preparation is not just about being physically prepared, about all the training leading up to the big race day, but I think ultimately it's important about this holistic approach. If you remember, Pao keep on saying that he envisioned that he gonna cross the UTMB finish line since 8 years since he was 20. So having this mindset, imagining the finishing of the race, in his case, that he became a champion in last year, I think that was really, I would say, monumental, really, really inspirational. So I agree with Pao that, vision yourself to finish the race regardless whatever the result. I think that's where it's going to propel you through, regardless whether the race is tough or not. Okay, so we have Lindsay again. Hi, Lindsay. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was like, just now I was wondering whether is the screen lagging or is it the connectivity? Okay, Lindsay, I know it's midnight already, Lindsay, but this is very interesting. Naked product, the vest and the band, it takes Asia by storm. Okay.
That's great.
Yes, it is really, I think it's a very innovative product. So probably you can start with when that you have this idea to founding the Naked Sports Innovation, and what inspired you to start this business, to start this innovation? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my background is an industrial designer, so I love to take ideas and make them even better. And so, as a trail runner, living in a hot climate in southern United States, after trying various products that really weren't to my liking or satisfaction, I had this idea to create this band. So this was about 5 years ago. So I made a couple of samples, and I sent them to my brother, who is a triathlete. And I said, hey, what do you think of this? You know, expecting to get your typical answer from a brother. And he actually loved them. And so he said, hey, let's go into business. Let's start this business. So along with myself and my brother, we co-founded Naked Sports Innovations. And we started just in a very small way. We're a small brand, but we think really globally. And so Asia actually was our first big customer, and selling products through Hong Kong and various parts of Asia. The Naked Running Band became very popular and very functional. And at the time that I designed this product, we were the first ones to have a high performance waistband in the world. And consequently, many brands have come out with their own versions, but we're always, through the feedback of our ambassadors and our pro athletes, constantly improving these products. And so that brings us today with running bands being sold in over 60 countries. The running vest, which is the same concept in design as the running band, is taking the world by storm as well.
And you heard Ken mention it just now. He broke the rule, the first rule that we shouldn't do normally on a race day. Nothing new on the race day, but he did it.
Right.
He did it. Okay.
And how did he do?
I think he scoot free, finished the race definitely without chafing, without any injury, because I think for someone new with the band or with the vest, that would be the first thoughts that came to mind. Oh, how I'm going to wear this on top of my skin? Will it gonna scrape off my skin or not? Well, it's proven no, that didn't happen.
Yeah, well, and that's the criteria, or one of the criteria that I had in designing the original running band, and criteria that I stick to with everything I design is, how can we make seams so they don't overlap? How can we make stitches so they don't chafe? Everything is designed to be worn against bare skin. So if we satisfy that criteria, we know that they're going to be comfortable over a shirt or over a light jacket, that kind of thing. So it's imperative and very important that these products work well against bare skin.
So I believe that's one of the key factor consideration that makes the running band as well as the vest different than the other brands in the market. But what are the other consideration, Lindsay, when you innovate this product?
Well, first of all, they can't chafe, and they cannot bounce. There's nothing worse for me than to wear a product that carries liquids or heavier objects and they're bouncing all around, because to me, bouncing equals fatigue, it equals chafing. The other thing is that they have to be extremely breathable and very, very light. And we're able to achieve this through our own proprietary mesh fabric that we've created. And I think we're really successful with that. The other component that nobody else looks at in designing these types of products is that my background is apparel design. So I approach designing these products as garments as opposed to backpacks. And they're both very different philosophies.
That's very good. And I think I read that the mesh is called Exo Power, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
that is patented mesh that you use as the main, I would say, ingredient of the bands as well as the vest. I tell you what, Lindsay, since I had that bands last year, I have ditched my hydration vest for every time that I go for my long run in the trail or even on road.
Yeah.
So that has been my companion, just like Ken was saying just now. Yeah, if anyone want to sabotage us, not allowing us to go out and running, take away the bands or the vest. We might be crippled out there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So I learned from Karen that today you will be sharing some news on the new releases. But before that, okay, what's the future plans? Say in the next, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or leading up to 1 year, and especially for the Asian market.
Yeah. Well, we're facing a really tough time right now globally. I think our concerns are with the people like doctors and nurses on the front line, people that are suffering through loss of relatives, people that are losing jobs. So I think first and foremost, we have to be very considerate of what's going around us. We have to think more than just ourselves. But by the same token, we are continuing to go along. We are, like many other brands, we have our challenges with supply chains, factories that are closed down. People have to understand that in factories, that factory workers work very close together. So it's important that when we come back online with factories restarting, that everybody is safe and healthy, first of all. So our plans are to be back up and running in the next month or so with our factory. I think we'll get the green light from the government and from the textile unions that everything will be safe to go ahead. So we'll be continuing production. Our new products that we introduced last fall at the trade show in Austin, Texas, they are going to be in production. They're all designed. Everything has been worked out. So we had a sneak peek back in November and December with those. And I actually have a couple samples here I can show everybody. So it continues the philosophy of Naked. Everything that we introduce is carefully considered and how it measures against the other products. It's important that each product fits its own little market and it doesn't step on the toes of the other styles. So we're really, really excited with what we have to roll out. Obviously, in the next 2 years, we've got some really exciting big plans. So we're really excited about the future.
Okay. And I learned as well that the new products that will be released is going to be triathlete friendly as well. So
yes,
perhaps you want to share? I think the audience here will be eager to see the sample of the new products that you will release soon.
Absolutely. So we have the original Naked Running Band, and that's a huge success for us. It's such an important part of our business. And so we're carefully considering how we roll out the next running bands. Now, we will always keep the original running band, but we want to create and have created, I think, a newer product that will appeal much more to triathletes and road runners. It'll have a few of the less of the features of the original running band because they're not necessary for shorter road races or for triathlons. Another thing to consider for our products and the Exo Power mesh that we use is that they function as well soaking wet as they do dry. Now, there's very few products that can do that, and so that's why it appeals to triathletes as well as the exploding OCR market. Athletes can wear them in the mud, in the water, and they still hold their gels and they still hold their water. stably, you know, and they keep it all safe. So anyway, so this is the new road running band. I don't know if everybody can see it. So it's 1 inch narrower than the current product. We've added a yellow trim to the outside to make it a little different. It still has the toggles for the race numbers. It doesn't have the tabs at the back for the poles or for a jacket.
For the
It's just
poles.
unnecessary for
Yeah.
shorter road distances. And it has the same pocket configuration. It's just a slightly simpler product, and I think that's going to really appeal to the road and triathlon market. So
Would that be different for men's and women, or that's going to be a unisex?
it's going to be
cutting?
unisex, yeah, unisex
Okay.
as well. And the vests, of course, are men's and women's designs, very specific to each physique, for sure. So, and then for the new vest, the HC vest, this is the front of it, and here is the back.
The back.
And I can talk a little bit about the features of this. Now, bear in mind that this product is going to fit exactly like our original running vest for men and women. It's going to function exactly the same. The only difference is that we have a zippered front now. And this is feedback from one of our professional athletes in terms of taking the vest on and off for safety checks at aid stations. And it's a higher capacity as well, obviously. We've got the front pockets here, and we still have all the original same pockets on the front and back. And then we have an additional pocket on the back that's very accessible and easy to get to. And then we have a little safety clip here, which will keep your products even safer in the back. And then on the front as well, we have the same whistle, the clip, and then we have pole attachments. It's hard to see with the black. So you can wear a pair of poles on the front, and one goes this way and the other one goes right in the front of your arms there. And then they're secured with our silicone-backed tape on the sides. So your poles, you can put them in the back, or you can put them on the front, whatever. So we're getting some options for pole management that way. Everything else, all the same features otherwise. So it's a higher capacity version.
Okay, that's very important. HC, what HC stands for, Lindsay?
I'm sorry?
HC, what does that stand for?
It stands for high capacity or higher capacity.
High capacity.
Or
Okay.
in the professional cycling term of OR category, which means a higher category, the highest category.
Okay, all right. I learned something new today.
Yeah.
Okay, so when that you expect that to come to the Asia market? I mean, given and take all the production, the factory and everything, so that's going to be like sometimes in next year, end of this year?
It's going to be as soon as the factory can get back into the production. We would see the release of this to our distributors throughout the world in probably a couple of months after that. So we're looking probably at late summer, early fall. I know a lot of brands are releasing products later right now because of uncertain deadlines. Deadlines seem to be getting pushed back all the time. So, but we're ready to go with it.
Okay, right. Okay, Lindsay, in April, early of this month, we had the Naked Responsible Run. So runners from all around the world, they run responsibly, you know, following their local government quarantine requirement. So so some of them, they run 5K, 10K indoors, you know, keep on going through the backyard. Some run treadmill, and it was really crazy, and the support was so overwhelming. So imagine that the COVID situations continues, you know, because not all country will get the releases soon, right? So do you imagine that we're going to have something similar, like the social driven event driven by Naked in the near future?
Yeah, you know, we wanted to try this one event initially, and there's a lot of virtual runs, a lot of virtual everything right now, because that's all we can do. We can get together through media. So it was a huge success. We reached over 250,000 people for this responsible run. And the stories were amazing. They were inspiring. We got feedback from one gentleman who ran a marathon in his living room.
Yeah,
It was
50
crazy.
meters square feet.
Yeah, it's just incredible what people were doing. And it was like, I don't even know if I walked a kilometer that day,
That
but
much, yes.
yeah, it was amazing. But so I think that I think we could see some more events this way, and there are events that are just for participation, to share the stories, to share our love for running. Everybody's a winner, nobody loses this event. So yeah, I think we might be able to do a few more.
I'm looking forward to that, Lindsay.
Good.
Okay, I know in the interest of time, I think I would like to have back Paul, Pau, as well as Ken on air with us.
Okay.
So, you as their sponsor, so any words that you wanted to, say to them, to Pau as well as to Ken?
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to say something to them now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
As because both of them is your ambassador.
Yeah,
global ambassador.
I can't see their handsome faces. I was expecting to see their faces. Well, I mean, I met Pau last year at the UTMB, and it was my first time meeting him and being in Chamonix. And I met Pau through my sales director, international sales director, and who is good friends with Pau. And so he was nice right off the bat. I was very impressed meeting Pau. He was really just a friendly, great guy. And we actually followed Pau throughout the night, the race. We followed him all throughout the entire course. And Jordy, my sales director, we were sleeping in the car, waiting for them to come into aid stations, and it was so great to see Pau and our other fellow naked athletes performing so well there. What really struck me about Pau was the sense of family. He had his entire family there, and they were so close in watching him, and obviously wrapped up in his journey, and it was really great to see. And he represents who we like as a naked athlete. He's professional. I think he trains probably harder than anybody. The guy's a beast, right? He's one of the strongest, if not the strongest, ultra runner in the world, and has the record to prove it. And then with Kent, we love our ambassadors. They do such an amazing job for our brand, and Kent is an absolute rock star. I think we need to submit his videos for best documentary at the Oscars. He's amazing, and his enthusiasm and his ability to convey the naked image and the naked philosophy is incredible. We couldn't be luckier to have a couple of guys like Pau and Kent on the team.
Thank you, Lindsay. Paul, anything that you wanted to share before we parting ways? And probably after that, we can also announce the two lucky winners.
I have the names. I say?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, yeah.
I say the comments or only the names?
I think you can, either way, whichever way, yeah. You can say their names first. Who are the two lucky winners?
Okay.
That we will win the naked
okay.
trucker caps, right?
The first one is Gina Ma.
Gina Ma, okay.
And the second one is Gordon Hansel Abbey.
Okay. I think they will be contacted. Yeah, they will be contacted by Sportlicious Malaysia to arrange for the delivery of the cap. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, Paul, you've been part of the Naked Sports Innovation. Your final words before we parting ways to Lindsay or to your audience. Yep.
Yeah, no, with Lindsay, it's the same that I wanted to add a little bit things is I meet Lindsay in UTMB, and it was, for me, it was really nice see him during the road, because he was, I think it was the first race that he followed in UTMB, the first time with Jordi, with the sales director, and yeah, it was, for me, it was really helpful when I arrive in a checkpoint and I can see my friends there encouraging me. So for me, this is really important, and that's why when my friend recommend me to start to work with Lindsay and Naked, I told him for sure it will be perfect for me, because I know the kind of people that is behind one brand, in this case Lindsay, and that's why I wanted to work with Naked. And yeah, for me it's a good product, and I recommend that people use this belt. In my case, I use the belt for carry the products, and it's really helpful for me. And that's it.
Ken? Yep. Okay, Ken, anything that you want to say to Lindsay as well as to the audience?
Thank you guys for tuning in, and nice meeting everyone. Nice meeting you, Pal and Lindsay. And yeah, see everyone in the next few weeks. Hopefully we can get out into the trails again.
Yeah, I think that's the dreams, the wish of everyone that is in the lockdown. Hopefully that will be back to running outdoors again. So be on the trail or be on the road. Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for being here with us. I know it's already 25 minutes over the midnight there in Seattle. Pao, thank you so much for being such an inspirational runner. You're young, but the way you envision yourself, to finish UTMB as a champion in last year, the 8 years journey is really, I think that's really wow factor to me, and I believe to the rest as well. Ken, keep on inspiring with all your video clips. I definitely looking forward, Ken, for the part 2 of the running, the short film. Okay, and of course, to Naked Sports Innovations and overall that's sponsoring this session, and Sportlicious Malaysia, Karen and Casey, thank you so much for organizing and having all these gentlemen with us today. Okay, until then, so hopefully that I'll get to see you guys face to face one day. Who knows, right? Take care, all right,
Thanks.
and have a good day. Have a good night.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hi, Isabel.